game phase.
Hello and welcome to another emulation live stream on my channel, the second one in 2 days. This one is focused on seta or seta games. I'm not sure the pronunciation, but seta. I say seta games. They didn't do that many games, but their hardware powered a lot of other games from like the likes of Taito. So we'll be looking at games that are powered by seta hardware, or sometimes called Allumer hardware. The chips are often marked X something or ST something. There's a good variety of them. They're used in home games, arcade games, mostly arcade games. And the first one I've picked is Twin Eagle 2 here, which obviously is the sequel to Twin Eagle. But first of all, I will have a look in the chat and see who is here. I think I've been chatting a little bit to Bob and Cow before the stream started. Two of the regulars here, and just joining now, we have R09, so hey R09, and hey No Joto, and hey Mo Burma, and hey Aussie Guy. So yeah, if you've been following MAME over the last few years, you know that I have done some work on these seta drivers, improving them, refactoring things, and trying to make it all work together a bit better. There are still a few outstanding issues with the games, probably some hardware tests need doing on like sprite limits and the like, because especially for the sprite chip, there's some things that don't make sense, which is really annoying actually, but we'll talk about that later. But for now, I'm going to turn the game volume back up. So it's turned about there. This one seems quite quiet. And yep, I'm going to change my view to vertical. Full screen the game, or try and full screen the game. There we go, and I can start playing. Do not replace the T with the G in seta. No, we are not making rude Italian words or anything like that, Cal. And also, hey Ingu and hey Mr. Outer Heaven, two more of the regulars. Always good to see you. But yeah, Twin Eagle 2. Where should I start with this one? This is noteworthy because it's one of the games that uses one of the seta protection chips, which in the list there is the UPD 96050, which is also one of the ones that's found on the SNES cartridges that seta put out. So they reused it on the arcade board. In this game, it is used for all the calculations for the object movement, the angles that move and everything else. So previously it was simulated, then Nia, or it was going by Bayou at the time, got the chips decapped, and MAME could then use their emulation core and the decap chip to run the real code for the protection on this one, and so the angles are now actually being calculated by the protection chip emulation, which is always an improvement when you can emulate chips instead of simulating them. So this follows on from Revenging Joe's Brother, I guess, and this is the rescue mission. Although, I think there will be many casualties in this rescue mission. Now this uses the screen control registers to do the fade effects on the right, so that's why you get the transitions with it clearing the screen that way. That's quite fancy. But, yeah. This is one of those games where you can basically destroy everything, so let's just bomb some towers and cars and everything on the ground, all the trees. I think it's also got like half circle motion and stuff like that to do the special moves from memory, but I'm not entirely sure how good I am at pulling those off. As in, I probably won't be pulling them off. I seem to remember reading that is how you trigger certain moves in this game, but I've no knowledge to it. Don't confuse Seta and Sega, and especially don't get either of them confused with Suna or Sune. Because Sune, that's when you get your best of best level madness. You know, the whole Statue of Liberty coming to life in the USA stage in the Suna games, and of course Sparkman. Who can forget Sparkman? Am I meant to save the city? Well, maybe. I don't know. You know, I've just been watching an episode of Archer where saving the city, you know, seems to be secondary priority. A bit like any Marvel movie as well. So, I guess I can get away with it. Now, we can always rebuild. We can build a new city here. I'm making some prime real estate here. We can put those old trains out of service. There we go, I've done a special move without even trying. Not sure how I did that. But yes, when you do the special move, the chopper here does spin like the cars on Final Lap. Yeah, I'm not being very stealthy here. I didn't like that advertising board, so that can go. This car park's too full. I need more people able to park there, so that can go too. Who needs trees? Trees can go. Run away. Sega Genesis is better than Super Nintendo. Potentially controversial opinion there from Cow in the chat. I'd like to know the reasoning for that. I mean, personally, I grew up with Genesis, Mega Drive here. My affinity does lie there rather than with the Nintendo system. But I have to say, the Nintendo does have some pretty good games. No, yeah, I think this is more dangerous than Rampage. You were right, Wolfaz. Also, welcome, Wolfaz. And welcome, Johnny Bond. And welcome, Main Fan. Always good to have you all here. Again, regulars, I recognise the names. Main Fans often contribute towards the channel. Did you catch this one? Did you manage to catch him the other stream on Catch Up? I noticed you left a comment. But yeah, this game is known for its over-the-top destruction, as you can see. It kind of reminds me of Cabal and things like that, in the sense that if you can see it, you can destroy it. I mean, it's a big improvement over the original Twin Eagle in terms of general playability. This is one of the handful of games that actually has Seta displayed as the on the title screen, as what was in the developer, at least the publisher. Because I think Seta did a lot more behind-the-scenes work in terms of the hardware. This one does credit Seta. And I think the protection chip is labelled ST as well, so again suggesting it was Seta came with it. Oh, enter my name. No. Yes, that is all blast processing did mean. Checking your collisions when you feel like it, and not when Sonic is off the screen and things like that. Which is why there are so many fun exploits in the games. Well, at the time it didn't really matter, it was just fast and impressive and fun. But yeah, the Mega Drive did have less problems with slowdown in general than the SNES though, so the advertising sort of connected with people at the time, even if it was just sort of made up terminology. So yeah, the SNES CPU did struggle a little bit, although then the SNES had all these additional chips, which it seemed to be able to utilise better than anything that you could put in a Mega Drive cartridge. I'm assuming the SNES has better access to the GPU than the Mega Drive did, because that was always a bottleneck on the Mega Drive. Whereas the SNES add-on chips gave you pretty much full screen rotation effects with no slowdown. Yeah, I think it is a bit more balanced. It's an easier game, Aussie guy. I'm not dying hundreds of times. Hello to, is that a Korean name? I don't know how to say the Korean name, but welcome. I hope you're doing well. Unfortunately, I'm not concentrating right now. Now, some of the bosses like this are a bit disappointing because they're just other choppers. You might have expected a big over-the-top boss, but it is one of the areas this game is a little lacking. Kind of reminds me of Mission Craft, if you ever played that one, in that sense. The bosses are just kind of regular sized with more health. Unfortunately, this is where my play also falls apart. I'm not concentrating. It's got a good rocky soundtrack like the original. You can tell it's a sequel. I made it. The cutscene show the pilot is clearly tweaking or something. I think the developers were too. It's also got a bit of a Desert Strike feel to me, but yeah, the pre-rendered graphics here are done well. I mean, they're simple, but they are done well. The explosions, probably the ugliest part of them. And you do see a lot of the explosions, but yeah, I have no complaints. Usually I don't like pre-rendered graphics, but in terms of this game, I don't actually have any complaints with them. They're dark and gritty and do the job. And the missiles and bullets stand out because they're in brighter colours. Look at the missiles there with the bright trail. Yeah, I've never been very good at pulling off the special moves in this. It's some directional movement on the stick, I think, but on a keyboard it's really hard. Yeah, Sonic does slow down when you lose all the rings, but that actually helps the game because it gives you time to see where they're going and collect them. So I don't know if it's slowing down because it's got too much to process, or maybe that's even a program slowdown. I don't know. I've never studied the Sonic code. But it kind of benefits the game. Sometimes slowdowns do benefit the game. Sometimes everything running at full speed all the time actually makes it more difficult. Yeah, humans, or if pre-rendered graphics on the Neo Geo tend to fall apart because it doesn't really have enough colours to do a good job of it with the 16 colour tiles and quite limited palette. But when you've got a decent palette and you can do sort of 256 colour tiles, or I think in this case it's probably 64 colour tiles from memory, they tend to look alright. Slow down. There was slow down before Keibitai. I mean, you have to slow down and find the lap on the corners. There we go, slightly bigger enemy this time. Slightly more satisfying. You can have my bomb. Let's dance with the missiles a little bit. Bomb again. Need to destroy some background. It's gone a bit. What's the game? The Psycho one. Zero gunner now. Moving all around the enemy. That's a big explosion. Is that the same Seta Aussie guy? Because I've read that sort of Seta were formed in '84 and Hana Awase and the other one are from like '82 and '83 or '84. Is it actually the same Seta, or is it just a different company that also called Seta? Because I couldn't find out for sure if it was the same company. Yeah, there's some decent pre-rendered stuff on the Neo, but if you look at things like Shock Troopers 2, it's definitely a downgrade over the first. And obviously Ragnargard is quite bad looking. Ironclad is rather bad looking. The Saurus stuff tends to be really bad. Pleasure Gold. Also, Data East have a tendency to do bad pre-rendered graphics in their games, not necessarily on the Neo Geo, but in general. That was clever. Let's ignore the fact I just went straight into a bullet. Yeah, Prehistoric Tower 2 is another quite ugly one. I don't mind the game, but it was a bit of a disappointment compared to the original Prehistoric Tower. Bull Star, that's a pretty decent looking pre-rendered one. Blazing Star, kind of at times. Easy, don't be panic. Not the worst English you'll see today. Kaneko. I like the river graphics and the waterfall in the background here. That's well animated. Yeah, I think Polestar looks better than Blazing Star. Blazing Star looks really rough in places, actually. I was surprised because when I first played Blazing Star, I was really impressed. But going back to it now, it's like, not perfect. Yeah, the ships do look plastic in those games. You're right, Nest Drivers. They do look sort of like old movie props. They look more digitized than pre-rendered. It is the same setup. Ah, okay. Thank you, Aussie guy. I may look at as long as they don't have adult content, but I think they're a little bit early for that. Obviously, I don't know how to play Hanafuda anyway, so that will be a very brief look if we have a look at those ones. Anyway, excuse me while I pause for a second. And I closed something I need to keep open in order to know what I'm playing next. So there we go. Yeah, there's a Speed Attack too they did. That's the other one. Speed Attack. Yeah, Seta are mainly known for the Super Real Mahjong games, but we will not be playing Mahjong. I might boot at one of them, but for very obvious reasons, we're not going to be playing Mahjong. A, I don't know how to play Mahjong. B, a lot of them are probably going to be mature games in some sense. But I do want to fire up, I think it's 6 briefly, just to discuss it. Daifugo for Esco. I'm not familiar with that one. Is that an arcade? Anyway, we've had about 15 minutes of Twin Eagle 2. You get the idea. It's an over-the-top shooter where you're bombing everything in the background at all times. The bosses aren't the best. It's got a decent rock soundtrack. The pre-rendered graphics are pretty good. It uses the hardware quite well. Does lots of effects with it. The transition effects between screens, and it has the protection chip that's found on some of the SNES games. So all in all, Twin Eagle 2 is a pretty interesting arcade game. It's a blast. It's good fun. It's maybe not the deepest, but it's one of those over-the-top arcade games that you can just have fun with. So in that sense, I'm quite happy to play that one. It's one of those shooters where you just want to unwind a bit. It's good for that. Part 1 has no stripping that was introduced in Part 2. Well, I'm probably not going to play any of them. I'm just going to let the attract modes run, which is safe on 6, I believe. That's an Chuck Norris movie and you've got an evening. Yeah, if you want that type of action, that's a pretty good game to mix in there, isn't it, Bob? Okay, so why not indeed? So this one was just mentioned in the chat, but I'm not going to play this, but I should have a look at it for, the sake of history. So Hana Awase is Seta's first game when they were still Seta Kikaku, and this was released in '82. Twin Eagle 2 4 Eagles. Hey, Mr. Midas 2K, welcome. Hope you're doing well. And hey, Mess Drivers as well. I don't believe I said hi already. But yeah, obviously this is very early Seta. They started off doing card games, Hanafuda games, that kind of thing. If you know how to play Hanafuda, then I'm sure this is a Hanafuda game to play. Otherwise, to me, it's just a nonsense card game. It's a bit like Mahjong, but with pictures. That's all I know about this game. Yeah, they did milk Super Real Mahjong to death, but I guess that was their go-to Mahjong game. I mean, they didn't put out as many Mahjong games as, say, Nichibutsu. So, yeah. So, no idea what I'm doing on this one. But if you wait for the title screen, there you go. Seta.cpp. It's a Japanese Hanafuda card game. I can't play it, unfortunately. I don't know how to play Hanafuda. But if you want somewhere to start with Seta, yeah, as far as we know, this is their first arcade game. As Aussie Guys says, Seta.cpp formed in '82 and rebranded as Seta Corp in October of '85. Both companies were formed by Jun Fujimoto. So there you go. I just thought I'd put this one on so you can see where they started, but there's no chance of me playing this. I have no idea of the rules. But yeah. Before they were just Seta, they were Seta Kikaku. Kikaku. There you go. Just thought I can't play that one, but I thought it would be nice to show it. So what are we going to play? I'm going to go with a bit of golf, actually. Yeah, maybe if you know the cards, it makes more sense, Mr. Midas, but to me, they're just cards with pictures on, like sunsets and things, and I don't see any kind of symbols on them to indicate the numbers. But yes, US Classic. Now, this golf game tends to be mostly overlooked. I think it's got quite nice graphics. It reminds me a lot of Twin Eagle 2 that we just looked at, actually, in terms of the graphical style. Sort of the digitized main character and everything. But let me just pour myself some Coke. We have some cherry Coke this time. But yeah, this one, it's got a semi-realistic look to it. Lots of dithering on the graphics. Yeah, I'll coin it up. Let's put lots of coins in. Let's put 9 coins in. So I can enter my initials at the start. It's one of those games. It's a trackball based game. And maybe therein is my problem with it. It's a trackball based game. So Seta early on were located in the Allumer building. Is that why a lot of the Seta stuff is also marked Allumer, Aussie guy? Anyway, so at the start of a shot in this one, you choose your club. This is the only time you choose your club, before the shot. And then it gives you, well, if you don't take your shot, then it does that. You choose your club, then you use your trackball. So let's push up and hit the shot. Now, I struggle with trackball-based golf games because you really just have to guess how hard you're hitting things. You sort of have to acquire that feel for them. Whereas, say, Neo Turf Masters, you've got a mark on the screen. You know exactly what you're selecting. Whereas this, you have to try and use muscle memory almost to work out the direction and strength. And I struggle with that. So, there we go. You see, right over the crowd and out of bounds. But yeah, is this a golf game? I think it's quite well presented. But again, I've not quite got the hang of it yet. There we go. We're on the green. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Incredible Technologies made all their money with trackball-based golf games. But to me, it doesn't really work. I mean, the reason I don't play golf is because I'm no good at judging strength or anything like that. You know, I can't tell the difference between hitting something hard and hitting something soft. So it's always been a struggle for me. So when you have that in a golf game, I like the way the crowd just move around. I struggle with it. But I can see why people who actually like golf might prefer that approach. Now, one thing about this game is it does play a lot like Taito's birdie try. So even if my golf is facing forward like this, if I pull the trackball backwards, it will do a shot backwards. So you do aim just with entirely with the trackball and the strength you hit it with. And obviously the club you choose to. But yeah, overall, I think for the type of golf game it is meant to be, this one is pretty well done. There's a Racing Force cabinet for sale as a cow. Go and get it. Get yourself a Racing Force. Oh, I didn't quite make it. But yeah, I think, say, the reason things like Neo Turf Masters really took off is because they avoided this whole trackball thing. You could just play them. You could just see how much power you're putting on. You could. It's more of an exact science. And to somebody not, you know, that familiar with golf as a game, you know, and not wanting that to have to judge with a push of a trackball, it's just more accessible. You do kind of get the hang of these after a while, but you still never feel quite in control of them the same way. Down the hill again. Hey Carlo, yeah, you missed Twin Eagle 2, Carlo. So now we're on golf time and me doing quite badly. Triple bogey. Now this one's alright, Carlo. As golf games go, it's obviously it's no Twin Eagle, but it's actually not a bad game. It's just like a modernised version of something like Birdie Trial, Birdie King, trackball based golf game with an overhead view. But visually you do get the idea that the course is rough, and it's one of those where the trackball doesn't overflow too quickly either, so you can just move, you know, if you play on a mouse you can move it quite quickly without just going in the opposite direction, you know. I hit that quite hard and it went there. So in terms of playing it in MAME on a mouse, it plays better than a lot of them. The trailblazer for realistically portrayed orange shirts in video games, says Mo Burma. Are there any other orange shirts of the period? I wonder. Yeah, the putting is quite easy on this one compared to some. Oh, let's not go in the water. Let's stay in bounds. Oh, the crowd move. Now, the scale of things here is a bit odd because I think everybody looks like giants. Also, I think it's that way the crowd move when you get close to them that sort of reminds me of Twin Eagle 2 and all the ground vehicles jumping about. Oh. Yeah, Turf Masters is obviously the better game, but I do like to look at the alternatives. And, you know, for a set of hardware, go... Oh dear, what did it do? I'm not sure what I did. I think I picked the mouse up and just hit it the wrong direction. But, you know, I take this over Data East Birdie Try or Taito's Birdie King games if I want a trackball-based golf game with an overhead view. I think Seta did a decent job with this one. Again, it's just not Neo Turf Masters, which is the golf game all golf games will be compared to. But it does a good job of keeping things simple. You know, pick your club, take your shot. You could probably master this one with less effort than some of the others. Cow 50 is not bad. Buy Allumer with Seta for Taito. Also for Romstar, they've licensed to Romstar, didn't they? But yeah, there's not much Seta did on their own. But, you know, we'll see that as we get through the stream. We're going to have a lot of Taito games, East Technology games, Allumer games, some of those Jordan developed games. Many things running on Seta hardware. I did see Seta are co-credited with Taito's Psycho Mabu too. I'm not sure what their involvement was there. But yeah, we won't spend too much longer on this. I'll probably put this... I failed to put this. Triple birdie, oh dear. And see when my credit runs out, because I can't have much more left on this credit. Come on. Oh. My ball likes it rough. And sandy. Speed attack in Hana Awase could be developed by Allumer. Yeah, Allumer and Seta do seem very close. Like I say, some of the custom chips seem to be marked as both. There was clearly a close working relationship between the two. Give up. Well, that's nice of it to tell me to give up. See, this isn't too credit greedy either, compared to some. It does require quite a few credits to keep playing, but there are golf games that are far more aggressive in that way. No, let's move people out of the way. For some reason they jump back as soon as you take your shot, which looks weird. Now, unsurprisingly, I've never got a hole-in-one in this, or done anything worthwhile in it. I'm kind of bad at it, like most golf games. As Seta, yeah, SSV hardware uses Seta chips, Seta Sammy Visco hardware. And there we go, continue. I won't continue any further on this, you get the idea. I'm sure. I'm drinking. So, where do we go next? Thank you very much. A very polite game there, you see. Very polite game. Pre-rendered sprites were popular for a while. Pre-rendered assets. And digitized ones. It was the 90s, well, late 80s, 90s. It was a thing that happened around that time. Right, we're going to switch to console now. A rather infamous prototype. Right, so this is 1991 Seta, and this is Bioforce Ape. A game that was sought after, searched for many years after it was previewed in Nintendo Magazine. And yeah, it is quite something. It's one of the handful of Seta games on the NES. And yeah, you see, you start by falling off a big building. You can control yourself, hit the wall, and then falling like this. And then you get to beat things up. You get to beat up this bee creature. Let's do some wrestling moves on you, because you know, I'm the Bioforce Ape, and I have a sort of jump, and the super fast elevator. I mean, this is faster than Sonic the Hedgehog scrolling. Then another one that's like, So yeah, I think I want to be Sonic here or something. I'm not sure. And right round. And we can jump off. So yeah, for a NES game that wasn't released, this is impressively fast actually. Look how fast I can run. You beat people up. I'm not going to say it's a great game, but it definitely makes you realise the NES could move things around quite quickly. Now let's beat up a kangaroo. Why not? More wrestling moves on a kangaroo. More wrestling moves on the bee. Awase Guy says Allumer formed in February of '87, headed by Yoshiaki Tsuyuki, and they went dormant in '99 and went bankrupt in February 2015. So they lasted quite a while, really. Beat up some more bees. Now, enemies do seem to respawn in this if you go away from their spawn point, which some might not like. Oh, we've got a bouncing platform to get us a bit more height. Got a little guy there. 2 of them. Now we get it slowed down with 2 enemies. So we go from super fast to quite slow. I think I wasn't meant to fall down, or maybe I wasn't. Now, it would be fair to say I don't know what I'm doing on this game. I guess I meant to swing across here. Yeah, for a prototype, this is actually pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect, but you can't expect a prototype game to be perfect. It's got some pretty cool music. And yeah, a good sense of speed when you're running. Now, do I fall down here? I'm going to fall down somewhere I'm not going to fall down. Oh. I don't know where I'm going, unfortunately. That's the main issue I have here. This just seems to be back where I was. No. This is about pressing jump at the right time to get the most height, I think. But I still don't know how to get on the rope in this situation. Am I going the right way here? I don't appear to be able to grab onto this rope, unfortunately, so I don't really know what I'm doing wrong here. Or, oh, I can jump up there. Fair enough. Unfortunately, I don't know where I'm going. The game is not so helpful in telling me that. Yeah, I am a monkey, I'm an ape. A mutated ape. Oh dear. I'm guessing I'm meant to be going over there because that's the bit that's making it most difficult to get. But I really don't know. So, I've never tried playing this one properly. like it might be the right way. Or not. Have I gone the wrong way? Because I can't possibly climb this wall without having wall jump mechanics. I might have just spent forever going the wrong way. Can't jump up there either. Anybody played this game and knows where I'm meant to go? Opus did the music for Seta. Oh, there's somebody down at least, but I think this is where I came from. It's a ninja guy. Ninja's dead. Ninja's respawned. Yeah, this could do with some something telling me where I'm meant to be going, to be honest. Because it's kind of difficult to know. Just make me fall down there then. Pick up I've not had. That's probably sent me right round in a loop, hasn't it? I did just get an ice cream, yes, because apparently ice cream are an ape's favourite food. I'm hitting something. Oh, okay, those are platforms too. Right. Uh-oh. Yeah, I fell down again. How do I get anywhere? It's the only way out to fall down. I've got two ninjas. I didn't have two ninjas before, so maybe I'm getting somewhere. Oh, and that is game over. A very abrupt game over. So I failed to clear the first level in Bioforce Ape. Aussie guy says Allumer did some made photo sticker image capture devices, and Seta possibly cloned and copied them. No, this game got quite a bit of coverage a few years ago, and it was dumped because people had been searching for ages. Somebody made some fake prototype of it that they smashed up and things like that. There's a bit of a story behind this one getting dumped and found. And overall, it's slightly annoying to control with sticky jumps, but it's better than some NES games I played. I'm just not very good at it, and I don't know where I'm going. But I suppose if you mapped it out, it'd be alright. But anyway, yeah, it's fast. It's like Sonic. It shows the NES can scroll really quickly, actually. And it's kind of impressive in its own way. Not going to spend much more time playing that one. Instead, we will move on to a game by Athena and Abel, which is JG Squackers. Now this one annoys me because if you see the bottom left corner there's a black box, and when I say I don't understand how the sprite limits work on the Seta hardware, that's one of the things I mean. Different games will clear different amounts of the sprite RAM and leave the rest of it uninitialized. And if you initialize sprite RAM to like all zeros, some games will have glitches in one place if you try and draw all the sprites. and if you initialize it to all FF, it will have glitches in other places. So I think some combination of turning on the floating tile maps affects the sprite limits, and the developers of each game knew what the sprite limit on that board was based on how they were using it, and so just didn't bother to clear the RAM they weren't using. And you just end up with this mess. So I'm probably gonna have to hard code the sprite values, sprite limits per game or something like that until it makes more sense, or someone's gonna have to do hardware tests. Also, furthermore to the issue, sprite 0 in the sprite list. Most games don't want it drawn or don't use it, but Kabuki-Z, a Taito game on seta type hardware, requires sprite 0 to be drawn, otherwise one of the HUD letters is missing. And again, some games don't initialize, never write to sprite 0, and so it just ends up in the default state. It's again, maybe that's a hardware glitch on some revisions of the seta chips, or maybe if you've got certain layers enabled, sprite 0 stops working. It's not clear. Somebody's going to have to hardware test it. Yeah, I've seen reference videos of hardware that don't have the glitches, so it's definitely an emulation thing. It's definitely a case of in certain configurations the board doesn't show certain sprites. It's just not clear what those are. But yeah, this is a quirky arcade platform game. Now the parent set here actually might be a hack. It's not clear, because if we get to this tree here, you see that this creature, bunny digitized face guy, is shaking the tree. Nothing falls from the tree. Now if I quickly quit out, and I think the set is currently called older. Yeah, it could do with some pointing arrows, Johnny Bond, you're right, so I know where I'm going. But again, it's a prototype, so maybe they just haven't got that far. But yeah, there's always room for improvement. Anyway, this is the clone set, the older set of JD Squackers. And when you get to this tree, you see, there's these balls falling out of it. Whenever it's shaken, these things fall out of it. And the change in the newer set is to just stop that happening, so these balls don't fall out the tree when it's shaken, which to me feels like an odd change between revisions. So maybe it was either it was deemed too difficult, or somebody decided they wanted to hack it out for some reason. It's not clear. This is one of those projectile weapons that doesn't go in a straight line. Yeah, this is a very colourful game. Visually, it reminds me in some ways of Mitchell's Charlie Ninja. It's got some of the cartoony style to it. You know, now I'm throwing shoes that walk themselves. Good evening, Ali Stan. How are you doing? Good to see you. I've not seen you post anything recently on Twitter. I don't know if there's anything in the pipeline in terms of, you know, handheld devices to be emulated. But always good to see you. Ali Storm is the one who did a lot of work on the Game Watch stuff in MAME, so if you want to say a big hello to them, then that'd be nice. So yeah, I'm fighting flowers with self-walking boots at the moment. There we go, and they explode. It's quite a tricky game, this. Despite the cute appearance, there's lots of ways you can die. But it's got a lot of charm too. It's well animated. And was bootleg quite a bit. I mean, there's unsurprisingly had quite a few bootlegs, including a 2003, I think, hack called Simpson Jr. I think by the same company that put out Snow Brothers 3. They decided to hack this one and pretend it was their own game as well. Although they didn't change anything in this apart from the title. Whereas with Snow Brothers 3, obviously, they released new levels and graphics. I got my tomato back. I'm not sure I wanted my tomato back, but... Cuphead Flower Boss. Came a bit before Cuphead. Oh, but I got by the balls. Now it is checkpointed, like you can see, so that does mean you have to be good to actually get anywhere. At least not terrible to get anywhere. Concentration is the name of the game here. JJ Squackers is the name of the game, but you know what I mean. Oh, got caught. No! Luckily, I still have lives left. There we go. You have been beaten. Yeah, it does have a kind of cutesy ghouls and ghosts feel. You're right, MAME fan. Is this one you played, MAME fan? On one of your own videos? Allumer did 2 PS1 games. So the focus isn't really Allumer, it's more setup. I might have to look at the PS1 games in another stream for the ones that are playable in English. A lot of PS1 games unfortunately require heavy knowledge of Japanese. Searching through the playable English games and the Japanese heavy RPGs is no easy task on the PlayStation. This is a bit like the tongue stage in Ghouls and Ghosts, isn't it? Climbing up a tower and things that carry you along. I see the similarities there, MAME fan. Reminds me a little bit of some of the Disney games on the Mega Drive too. You know, your World of Illusions and things like that. Cutesy platforms. Bit of slow down here. Oh, I'm not going to drop me. Bouncy. You never played this one? It's a pretty good one. It's not the best game in the world, but you can see why it's well liked in general and was quite heavily bootlegged. But it does get tough. It's quite short from memory though. So it's a better platformer than things like Magic Pepper Adventure. And arcade platformers are kind of rare. And unfortunately I'm doing quite badly at this part. Am I in a Dali painting? I think I'm in somebody's psychedelic dream, to be quite honest. This is one of those games that just get a little bit trippy. And the serene music, as if everything here is perfectly normal. This part is difficult. So I'm just going to run through it and hope there's a checkpoint. Power shot. Oh, there we go. Now I'm firing rainbow. Yeah, I like this shot. The slowdown is Metal Slug level at this point, though. Well, at least I start back here. It's 68K. It's not a 32-bit system, Johnny. I mean, the set of sprite hardware is basically 8-bit sprite hardware. It doesn't even sit 16-bit on the bus. It only occupies every other address. It's you know, the sprite hardware is the same sprite hardware that is on the New Zealand Story, which is an 8-bit game. And one we might look at later. Now I've got my walking feet again. Strike Gunner might get played, yeah, Aussie guy, as might 8 Forces. Two Tecmo ones. Now I look like I'm fighting something that's like all the ghosts in Pac-Man ate each other. Fortunately, this weapon is useless for it. Oh no, this isn't SSV. This is the older. I mean, this is the older 68K Seta platform. An SSV version would probably be even more impressive. I don't know why the scrolling glitch. Oh, it's the barrier coming down. It's not a glitch. It's the barrier coming down to the boss area. How am I meant to kill this thing with this weapon? This is a tough-looking boss. Avoiding it. I think I've got the wrong weapon here. Not great. I'm dead again. So, yeah, this might be where this run ends. There is a bit of a firing minute here. You can only have 3 of these active at once at the moment. I think because of the number of sprites on screen. So, meant to jump. Doesn't know when to jump over this thing as well. You don't want to get too close because then you can't easily dodge it. Like any boss, it's a case of learning the patterns really. And knowing how to avoid them, especially that one. Yeah, Metafox might get a look in. I think I looked at Metafox before and I talked about it not being very good. Oh, forgot to jump again. I'm going to start to flash, so if I can survive. Should have really used the dip switches to give myself more lives. That would have been beneficial. Okay. So let's throw in the car. Almost. Hey Peter, welcome. And yeah, we're doing a Seta hardware special here. So this is JJ Squackers by Abel and Athena. I've already got that palette. So I'll give this boss one more try and then we'll have to move on because otherwise we're going to be here a long time. No, I avoided that attack before. I hate it when I get hit by attacks and I manage to successfully navigate this time. That's not progress. And that one. Got to back off on that one. I failed to do so. Jump too early. Nah, it's not going well. Anyway, hey Stephen, welcome. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you again. So yeah, this was JJ Squackers, which is a fun little platform game, but you do have to learn the bosses because it is checkpointed. So if you don't learn their patterns, you won't progress. But yeah, I would recommend this one to anybody wanting a fun game. I get double entering the high score and table for my two different credits, I guess. There, that's a bit different. But yeah, cute 'em ups, 2 players. Maybe if you've got 2 players playing, like shoot 'em ups, it won't checkpoint you. So maybe I could have cheesed the boss with a second player, but I forgot to think of that. Yeah, a good fun one from '93, that one. Very good looking, cartoony. And I kind of like it. Now, let's have a look at one that's nobody's going to talk about. A gambling game where it doesn't work properly yet, and the colours aren't jumped. Now, this is Cherry Chance, 1987, Unknown. Now, you see there's no credit on the title screen, but if we go into the graphic viewer here, there is 1987 Taito. So, and it looks like a Taito font. So I think Taito put this out, and this might be a bootleg set. A bootleg of the gambling game, or Taito just didn't want their name on the title screen for some reason. But Taito doesn't appear there. It's a video slot machine. The colour proms aren't dumped, but it does run on SETA type hardware. Because zip switches aren't defined. We can... What's bet? Oh, I need to know the keys. Bet is X. So we can run, 5 credits, and it will do the reels. 5 credits, and it will do the reels. Now, it's marked not working because the payout system isn't hooked up, so as soon as you win, the game will lock up. Now, I guess this is kind of rare because, say, we've never had another board show up in order to dump the proms or see if there's one with a proper Taito copyright. And there you go, hop a timeout now because I won. And yeah, pretty much the only way is to force reset it at that point. Seta's Jun Fujimoto heads Universal these days, according to Aussie Guy. So that's an interesting little bit of trivia. And as mentioned, we did feature Universal's Mrs. Dynamite on a special a while back. And Mr. Do, obviously everybody knows, and lots of other Universal games. I think it was said before that Universal became Azure for a while and did gambling games, didn't they? Yeah, we might look at Vasara, Carlo, the Visco's game. But yeah, obviously this isn't too exciting. But it would be nice if a board of this turned up so the colour proms could be dumped and to see if there's a version with a proper Taito logo. Because this was dumped long ago, before people were even dumping colour proms. And I'm pretty sure this doesn't upload the palette anywhere, so it's never going to have proper colours without colour proms. And I don't think anybody's going to be motivated to fix the hopper timeout until it's got proper colour proms. But yeah, a bit of an oddity on SETA hardware, that one. I thought I'd just show off. So yeah, that's that one. Now we're going to move to the 32-bit platform this time with one of the ones that was on the preview image. This is Dyna Gear, a game from Sammy on SSV hardware, with SSV hardware being Sammy Seta Visco or Seta Sammy Visco, depending on which order you want to read it in. Seems quite loud. Let's turn it down a bit. Now, this is one where I improved the emulation a couple of years back. That wavy effect there on the title screen was unemulated for a long time. So, yeah, it's one I worked on a fair bit at the time and made quite a lot of improvements to the SSV emulation. Now, this is another run and gunny type game. We just played JG Squackers, and yeah, this is run, gun, shoot. It's not a bad one. Give it a story. Like Gustav, Time Patrol, and Roger. And good evening to you, Alpha. Nice to see you as well. Welcome. So yeah, so it's giving us a bit of backstory about Roger, Wolf, Gustav, and this dino-filled environment. Ruthless Gustav. So it's one of those where you fire quickly. Look at all the dinosaur bones falling away when you destroy the dinosaurs. You can hang on branches a bit like, Strider. You can pull yourself up. Obviously you can't climb trees and things like Strider. You fire quickly, you can get the special attack like that. You can take the different routes through the levels. You've got your double jump. So you go up here. Not quite got the Kaneko controls yet. Ourselves up the trees. And that wavy effect when you get hit as well, that was previously emulated. It's not a glitch, it's meant to throw you off a little bit when you get hit. Probably to increase the difficulty slightly and let you know you've been hit and damaged. But again, that is using the same technique as the title screen. So until I added that a couple of years ago, that was missing. Different weapon, axe here. Got hit. Right. You can't fire downwards, you can roll. Very Sonic-like sound effect. Oh, I should really pay attention. Pony mellows, yes. Don't mind some pony mellows. Parking on a bridge. Nice flying creature here. Oh, got hit again. Some big coins to collect. Yeah, Strider 2, I mean, obviously, this is a bit linear compared to Strider. This is more just, more run right, whereas Strider was more complex environments, but, yeah. I think the SSV hardware could have powered a good Strider game, though, you're right. We get the big coin. There we go, big coin. And complete the level. Seta closed their door on February the 9th, 2009 because they merged with Universal Azure. And Azure continued the Super Real Mahjong franchise. Sold the Super Real Mahjong franchise to Mighty Craft in 2016. Does that mean there's still new Super Real Mahjong games being developed for the arcade in Japan? Presumably on PC systems these days. Shoot me in the back. Who said that? This dinosaur is our friend. Okay. Hello, friendly dinosaur. I've got a rainy field forest. Those ones out. So I've got this one following me now. Flowers. So it's a very pretty game, this one. There's a checkpoint down there. Do I have an umbrella? No? But yeah, say if JD Squackers was on this hardware, it probably would run much smoother like this. Because the I don't know how much slow down this has on real hardware, because the V60 timings aren't exactly accurate in MAME. And I've not watched real footage to know, but I'm assuming this probably runs pretty well on real hardware too. Oops. Not dead yet. I should have really known there was a big explosion at being dead. But you're shrinking, see? Oh, you get bigger. This does have quite a console feel to it too. It feels more like a console game than an arcade maybe. I can say the same with a lot of platformers. Sorry, there's nothing in the box. Bounce. Oop. Big coins to collect. I'm not sure how I was meant to avoid that. The wolf is my friend. I can be the wolf instead. I'm sure that said game over, not game over. I'll beat this thing again. What was wolfy this time? I'm not sure how to best use this roll move. So it doesn't always seem the most effective. Anything in this box? No. Still nothing in that box. I don't know if that's just some bonus if you do better. I know, I'll climb the last. Save it if I'm not stupid. Apologies if anybody really likes dinosaurs and doesn't like me killing them. 2 wolves. Not sure why it doesn't replace the wolf with the other character when in that situation, but... Ooh. Mighty Craft is still doing Super Real Mahjong. I imagine there's always going to be a market for Mahjong games in Japan. It's a bit like fruit machines over here. They'll probably never stop making them. Especially, you know, deal or no deal branded ones that seem to be about 5 or 6 machines every year. I died, apparently. I thought this one was my friend. This one in different colours, my friend. That hurt. No. Dead. Game over. Oh, hey, Evie. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. You're on the bus to town from work. Okay. I guess the bus Wi-Fi does a good job then. But it's good to see you. I hope work went okay. And I started the stream a little earlier, so I should be finished around 11 instead of midnight. So if you want to chat later, I should be online later. Hope you're doing well anyway. Yeah, this is a really neat game, Peter. There's so action-packed, colourful, impressive. One of those good arcade experiences. I'm surprised. I was compiling sort of my own top 100 games, and I realised I kind of missed this one out, and I don't know why. But it is a good, solid, colourful, action-packed arcade game that I'm happy to play about. I missed the big coin though. Thank you for saying hi to everybody else as well, Evie. Yeah, it's a sort of samurai game look to it. You can tell a lot of effort was put into this one. The special effects, the screen transitions, you know, the way everything falls apart and death animations. It's oh, those kill you. Stay away from those. Reloading them first. Impressive game, as long as you know you don't mind seeing lots of dinosaurs dying. And you can also, you know, go across the scene here and be a bit cheeky. Let's go out of here. And fail. Anyway, game over again. Game over again. So there we go. Let's move on to another game, and we'll put Ed and Best Workers. I didn't consider that work, but I'm surprised at this point. I'm surprised you're not telling me Mighty Craft made plug and play games. Aussie guy. But yeah, that was Dyna Gear. Now, so I'm not going to play this one, but I think it's kind of interesting. Super Real Mahjong Part 6 uses a 68K, and so it uses this all-in-one Nile chip that does video and sound. So we can watch the a track mode. Thank you, Evie, and thank you, Peter. It's appreciated. And yeah, I'm happy with the situation now. It's all worked out and everything's back together. So the reason I'm showing this one is because this Nile chip is kind of significant. I worked on the emulation of it with Docs some years back, and what we found is this Nile chip, which is one of the SATA customs, has a lot of similarities with the CPS3 hardware. It uses the same run length encoding compression technique, compression. The sound hardware is very similar, the register layout and everything else. And overall, you know, it feels like the Nile chip and the CPS3 customs are evolutions of the same thing, with, you know, sourced the same origins. Maybe the same people designed the hardware or something like that. There are too many similarities, I think, for it to be coincidence. I mean, you know, I don't think it's not the same, it's not compatible, but it's similar, very, very similar. And that's something I think if people start doing FPGA implementations and decapping the chips, they might find there are some similar circuits in the two chips, because CPS3 is very much not a Capcom design. It's much more influenced by something like this. But as I say, we're not going to play that because it's a Mahjong game. Yes, Bob, unfortunately that is Japanese Mahjong games for you. 16 is probably quite old by the standard of some of them, unfortunately. Yeah, but Japanese culture is a bit like that, a little bit creepy at times. But yeah, so that is an interesting one in the sense that it's kind of similar to CPS3. And it makes me wonder if there's a connection. Obviously, I consider CPS3 to be a very Seta-like system as a result. Seta sprite systems are kind of notable in the sense there's lots of tables of direction, sort of global registers and sublist registers to enable the global registers, disable the global registers, use local registers, list referencing lists, and they're quite complex sprite systems. And floating tile maps rather than, you know, your standard tile map RAM. So tile maps are effectively sprites. And yeah, when I was working on the CPS3 emulation, one of the things I even noticed is how Seta-like it was. So for that to be that connection with Super Real Mahjong as well, kind of makes me think that there's a common designer somewhere in the pipeline. Unfortunately, since I can't prove that Capcom used Seta chips, we won't be playing CPS3 games today. But anyway, it will never be as super real as Final Lap R, says Cow. What was Seta before arcades? I'm not sure. I mean, we looked at their earliest game, which was the Hanafuda one, and I think that was around the same year they formed, so I don't know if they did anything before arcades. Carlo. And Wolf asks, is there any way to play a MAME pinball machine? The actual problem with pinball machines MAME only emulates the display circuit of. So you need something like PinMAME to actually connect with other software, so you can't do that in a regular version of MAME. But PinMAME works with other software to provide emulation of some elements of the pinball tables, but it's also a fork based on a really old version under the old license, which is kind of problematic. But yeah, anyway, this one is a Seta puzzle game called Neratte Chu, and I'm assuming Neratte Chu is a direct translation of the Japanese name, because that means nothing at all in English, as far as I know. But yeah, this is a fun little puzzle game, and this runs on a board powered by a Z80 system on chip. So all the CPU, sound, video, and everything else is all contained in one chip, and it's a tiny little PCB. And this is one of the puzzle games on it. I think I played this on another stream. This is 1996, so quite late on. Clearly, I'd say a low-budget production, since the PCB is tiny, and yeah, but we'll have a little play of it. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't have a versus computer mode. The two-player mode is 2 players only, which is a shame, but it's mainly about the puzzles, and it's a little micey puzzle game, so yeah, it's the puzzle mode. Now, the idea is to get the key or keys to the bottom. Any piece you fire into the play field will replace what's already there if you fire it at something. And you've got a match 4 to get things to drop down. Yeah, the Visual Pinball Project, as Ingu says. So, here you see, if I aim this at the green one will go to the top, that one will fall down. Put the cheese there, makes that disappear, and we get the key. But yeah, this is very much a puzzle game. The sequence of the pieces you get, at least at the start, is always the same. So every level is designed as a puzzle. And knowing that is how you solve a lot of them. The first stages are pretty easy. It's a mouse squeak sound in Japanese. I So how on earth does that translate to Neratte Chu? Where does Neratte... Do mice go chew in Japan? I don't really know. So yeah, in this case we can just destroy the blocks until the key's at the bottom. It's just introducing the ice block mechanic here. Oh, they go chew chew chew. Okay. So why... Is Neratte a direct translation then? I'm sometimes confused by these names. I didn't really want to put the key at the top. That was a mistake. But there we go. Yeah, this is actually one of my favourite little puzzle games. It is a bit of a shame it doesn't have a versus computer mode, but I just like solving the levels and coming back to it every now and again after I've forgotten how each level is solved. That puts that at the top. And like any puzzle game, if you go over the limit at the top, that's how you lose. But this is an original concept. There aren't any other puzzle games with these mechanics. And as I've said 1,000 times in these streams before, that is what I'm looking for with a puzzle game. It has to be doing something I've not seen before. And doing it well. And this does that. Yeah, I messed up. Ignore my inability to play this game. Yeah. Also, you can always break the ice blocks by hitting them, which I sometimes forget as well. And sort of damage control on the tower there, maybe, possibly. Need to take that tower down soon. Blue is important. Blue is important. Blue is very important. That was important. That'll get us down. Yeah, good. But yeah, to me this game is every bit as good as something like the original Puzzle Bobble. Sound quality is a bit rough, but again that's mainly due to it being this all-in-one chip with not much ROM capacity. It is, in every sense, a budget production. But that doesn't mean it's bad. It's certainly not bad. And there's a lot of detail to the animations. Look at the way the aim cursor rotates and tumbles around as you move it. A lot of work has been put into this game. Seta's first game was Hon Shogi for the NES. I won't be playing a Shogi game. And that was developed by Random House for Seta. I've heard of the name Random House before this. As far as I know, this didn't get ported to anything, unless it got ported to a Nintendo system I'm not aware of. Which surprises me, because puzzle games tend to be good targets for ports, especially, you know, handheld systems. This could have worked on, say, a Game Gear or a Neo Geo Pocket. But, okay. So this one, yeah, this one is like that. Random House published books. I wouldn't say this was a rip-off of a Day to East game, Carlo. I can't think of a Day to East game with this gameplay. This, to me, is a unique game. Now you see we've got 2 keys in the playfield. And we've got pieces I don't need. And, oh dear. I probably messed this stage up. I've definitely messed it up now. Unless I'm very lucky here. No. Yeah, failed. Need a better strategy. not what I wanted to do. Hold on. Oh, wrong choice. I'm doing worse this time than the first time. At least I think I am. So it does get tricky if you don't know how to solve the puzzles. And I clearly failed here to correctly solve this one. Not a chance. Not a chance. It doesn't play anything like Magical Drop Car though. You're not pulling pieces and pushing pieces. This is a unique puzzle game entirely. You're catapulting pieces into the playfield here. You're replacing pieces that are already there. You know, I can hit this cheese there and it replaces an ice block. I can hit this one, it replaces an ice block. That replaces an ice block. In fact, maybe that's the strategy for this level, getting rid of the ice blocks. And not concentrating on anything else. If I can group all these reds together, that might work to my advantage. It might also not. I mean, I'm not saying this is how you actually play this level. Because this might be a terrible strategy, in fact. I think I'm seeing the flaw in this strategy. Uh-oh, that was not what I wanted to do at all. Anyway. Yeah, you're trying to get the keys to the lock. You've got to make sure the keys drop. But the ice blocks take multiple hits. Otherwise, if you hit something into the playfield, it places what's there. If you hit something against an ice block, the piece you threw at the piece goes to the top instead. It's completely unique in terms of the puzzle mechanics. It's actually a really good one. This is where I got the stream preview logo from. It's used in a few places as well, but I picked from this one. But yeah, one of my favourite puzzle games, to be honest. It's nothing like, if you play it, you quickly realise it's nothing like Magical Drop at all. But yeah, every level has a set number of keys. The how to play it actually explains it really well. It is a nice little puzzle game, Stephen. I recommend everybody gives this one a try. I've played it on a stream before. Yeah, shoot and replace characters. This is a basic technique. But anyway, that was Neratte Chu. And yeah, Neratte Chu is a good fun one. Right, let's go with a game that feels prototyping quality. This is Kabuki-Z by Kaneko and Taito on New Zealand Story hardware. Now, the New Zealand Story hardware uses the same video chips as the seta.cpp games. So, for example, what was it? JJ Squackers that we looked at. But look at that animation. Look how the character is just basically sliding along and jumping along. This game is... Yeah, this game's quite a mess, to be honest. But we'll have a play of it. Two ones. So, block and attack. You do just basically slide along the ground. But yeah, I've always felt this was unfinished. You can't jump. Intentionally. Actually, no, you can jump, actually. Both buttons is jump. Oh, sorry, that's correct. You can jump by pressing both buttons. That was it. So sort of a beat 'em up with swords. So think, say, is it Sengoku, the Neo Geo game that goes for a weapon sword-based approach? Almost as bad as Sword of Sudan. I'm not sure I'd say it was that bad, but Yeah, there's a few of these heavily Japanese-themed games that really feel rough around the edges. And Namco have one or two as well. I don't know if it's just some style I'm not getting. Yeah, I mean, it is developed by Kaneko for Taito. But it's on Seta type hardware, which is why we're covering it. And there we go. Oh, you can duck as well, yeah. Down and button 2 is duck. I forgot that. It's just such a bad sprite animation. I quite like Kaneko games, but this one, I don't know. But this is the annoying one where if you don't draw sprite 0 in the set of sprite list, one of the HUD elements goes missing in places, or something to do with the score. I think one of the score points on the high score table or something. So you do have to draw sprite 0 in certain cases. Is this hitting? I don't know if I'm doing any damage here. I mean, it's got a red splash, I'd assume I am. Oh, everything being blocked, is that what the red flash is telling me in this case? I think it probably is, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, big sprites. I guess they are quite big for the hardware type, you're right. It's also meant to be a slightly slower pace, more strategic game, as you can see from me trying to get the hits in. But the way you slide around like this is kind of silly. Yeah, like you say, Ozzy, it does feel kind of unfinished, kind of rushed. Apparently I didn't continue properly, I don't know. I mean, people do quite like it though. I've seen people ask for this one and want to see it emulated before it's emulated, or remember it and ask what was that game. So it has its fans. You do move around quickly, but that's why it looks silly, because you move around far more quickly than your animation. It's one of those where we've even seen bootleg boards of it, or other games converted to run it. I guess the strategy is more to let characters jump at you. There we go. That was easier that time. I think this is just a Seta graphic chip, Carlo. So it does sprites and floating tile maps, which is all you really need here. But yeah, this is one of the more annoying ones to use it, like I said. You also get really bad flicker if you buffer it, don't buffer it in a certain way. Because that's the other thing the chip seems to do, or some of the support chips do, is provide buffering. And it's not always clear how that works. I mean, we have a similar problem with some Namco games actually, including the sprite chip Final FR users, which I think has some built-in buffering mechanism. Because it can draw sprites in different places. But yeah, I think this is kind of... This and Thundercade are two of the awkward cases. I'll probably look at Thundercade in a bit. There we go. There's an unreleased Mega Drive version of this game. Tenku Retsuden Mushashi. Wasn't aware of that. Is that this game? Fire stage. Yay. Same enemies as the first stage. I like to walk around on my knee. I'm not getting a sore knee at all here. Did I remove somebody's head? Oh dear. Accidents happen. Accidents happen. Now apparently somebody's house is being burnt down. If you want a good fire stage in a game, Last Blade 2. If you want a bad one, this. I don't know, it's not that bad actually looking. The blood effect's quite nice, but unnecessary. Though it does indicate when somebody's died, which is useful, I guess. Music is nothing special, just background. Oh, another boss type character. But it does have that more strategic feel to the combat. Get your hits in the right time. Don't just spam buttons. But you know, when I get attacked like that, I'm stunned for a moment momentarily, which makes me vulnerable. I'm not sure kneeling down's helping my cause here. Yeah. I'm gonna die here. Yeah. I really didn't like Black Panther Aussie guy. I felt that one was less playable personally. Yeah, the bosses will require different strategies. It's kind of strategic. It's not. I don't think it's a terrible game. It just like I say, this one feels unpolished and kind of very janky, as you would say. I think. Don't need another credit. So, but Taito felt fit to put the name on it, so who am I to argue? Let's have some rum. Let's have some passion fruit rum. There we go. Black Panther is Corland, yes. Which also did WC them on. But anyway, yeah, that was Kabuki-Z or Kabuki-Z. I did feature, I think, one other game in my preview image, which I'll play now, so that I don't forget to play it, because I've done that before. This is on a different Taito platform, the Taito X board, which is powered by the same sprite chip, but is using a 68K. And this is Last Striker, also known as Kyuukyoku No Striker, an East Technology game. Now, obviously East Technology did Double Dragon 3. I'm kind of surprised this is localized, because it feels like a very Japanese game otherwise. But it does have a language dip switch, so you can have the Last Striker title you see here, or you can change it, and you get the Japanese title screen. Final something striker. I don't know why it doesn't say final in the main set description. But, yeah. There you go. I don't know, Cow. It might have been different people there. I mean, Corland also did Cyber Tank, which is absolutely terrible shooting racing game. Enter my name at the start. I'll be Sleepy ZZZ. This kind of reminds me in some ways of Taito's Kick and Run. Can't remember why. It might be the ball, which I think is a bit big. So the girls' team is called Lad. Or Lady. I'm assuming it's ladies. bounce around off the side of the screen because there are no throw-ins here. But yeah, it's a very confusing football game. I've never really got on with. It feels like there should be some sort of sprite zooming on the ball, but there really isn't meant to be. This is just how the game is. The ball bounces around in a completely unnatural way. You can power shot like that. And then you do a kick there and it goes all the way over here, and yeah. I really don't know what to think of this. Well, I do know what to think of this, but it wouldn't be polite to say. Apparently this is girls versus boys soccer, yeah. I'm assuming this is based on some Japanese series or something, but I really don't know. I don't even know how you score goals in this one. It's probably some strategy like there is in every football game. A certain angle where it works best. Oh dear. If you get your keeper out and pass it to the opposition, it does that. And yeah, the holes in the big sprites, like the 0 there, do occur on hardware, because I remember when this was dumped, I think I added it to the driver actually. I remember questioning why there were some holes in sprites, but they were there on the PCB too, so it's just how this one is. It's a little bit lazy. And you do charge up your shots. You can pass the ball around. You can kick people. Oh, almost in there. Time up. 1-0. You see all the 3 little holes in the 0 there. What were you expecting from a striker game, Bob? Because if you say striker to me, I do think football. But maybe that's because I think I had... Was it Striker on the Amiga? That was a football game. You're thinking more like... sort of shoot 'em up. The goalkeeper here is very good. So with most of these football games, once you know how to score, it becomes very easy to score. But when you don't know how to score, it's a bit tricky. Toyplan's only game running on Seta Allumer hardware is Dyson Twin Hawk. Yeah, that is one that I might look at maybe next. It's on the same drive as this one. In reality, these are all different boards in the X driver. It's slightly different extra hardware, but they're close enough that they were put in the same driver. It's like to say Superman is in here, and that's got the C chip. I mean, you can kick it in front of you like this. You want to dribble, which may help, I don't know. But again, the ball physics are just strange. Oh, that's also a slide tackle. Okay. Even the powerful shot from there doesn't go in. Oh dear. I think it glitched out there because the ball seemed to be in the net but not in the net. But that's not going to be an emulation thing. That's just going to be the game being the game, which is a mess. Because there's no protection on this, nothing fancy about this. It will have just gone weird. But yeah, I think we've probably seen enough of Last Striker, to be quite honest with you. It's not great. It's not great at all. The ball just sort of bounces around, appears in one place and appears in another place, and it's a complete nightmare to control. East Technology were not really known for their good games. Athena, for some reason, is a really good East Technology game. The rest of them are, yeah, they're not as bad as Double Dragon 3, which they did for Technos, but they're pretty bad. Gigantes maybe is acceptable, but Last Striker just doesn't. I've never found any fun in that one at all. Anyway, it was mentioned. Last shot second to add insult to injury. Yep. And the ball, I'd say it was full of concrete, except people didn't seem to have broken feet. So, Alright, Twin Hawk was mentioned. Let's play the word set. So yeah, Toaplan did a game using this set of chips, and it runs in the same drive as the one we just looked at. So let's have a play. It reminds you of Capcom Soccer. The Capcom Soccer game with the oversized ball in Sports Club plays better than that one though. Yeah, Dyson Poo, or Twin Hawk, as it's also known. Taito published this one. As mentioned, Toaplan developed it, but it's powered by Seta hardware. So, yeah, Capcom Sports Club. I do like Capcom Sports Club. I like the tennis game in that one, more so than the soccer one. But it's a good little Capcom game, that. And I don't think I've played on stream. Might have to at some point. Good soundtrack, I do expect from Toaplan. Bullets are a little hard to see. Orange bullets against a deserty coloured background. We'll forgive that for now. Sort of the traditional shooter for the period. It's not doing too much, but it's doing a good job. Nothing takes too many hits. It's always indicating if you've shot something. You know, the player feedback is good. It's not one of these shooters where you're shooting something and you don't know if you're doing damage. You know you're damaging things. They flash. They explode. I die. This is a bit of a shame about the clarity on the bullets. You have to pay attention. But the secondary attack, which is these planes. Shots are somewhat aimed at you, so you can't just stay in one place. You're not going to find a safe spot. Bomb 2 is a different secondary attack. The shots do start coming fast quickly. Music was composed by Osamu Lee Ota, who later directed Gekiriden. I never liked Gekiriden. I always thought that was a very awkward Taito shooter. So this kind of gets slap fight level difficulty with fast aim bullets very quickly, but slap fight is another Toaplan game, and Toaplan liked doing that. So if you press bomb again when planes on screen, it does that actual secondary bomb attack, which is a bit of a different way of doing it. You can have your planes, or you can just have a bomb by double tapping it. Clarity is better now over water. Sadly, no animation on the water, but maybe it's a little bit early for well-animated water. But, you know, a palette effect might have been nice here. I think, like every company, Turroplan was still learning though. Or maybe they just wanted it to be more difficult. But then you look at like Battle Gallagher, the first version has those really hard to see bullets. And the later revision changes that. But you don't know. I don't know. And I know there are plenty of interviews with Turroplan where they talk about their previous games, so I don't know if any of them cover that specific subject. But yeah, the bullets can be difficult to see, which is not really a positive at times. Especially not when they're so fast and coming straight towards you. Also, I'm not used to these larger hitboxes than the older shooters. They catch me out these days. Give me some laser wheels instead. And the power there. It's gone off the bottom of the screen. Power-ups don't stick around, unfortunately. I started player 2 instead of player 1. That was silly. The wrong key. Well, you can take some of the bullets from me. Or not. Terraplane. At least the bullets flash. I mean, that is quite handy. That's one thing I think Turroplan did on Slapfight 2, didn't they? The bullets flash a little bit, which helps you see them. Oh look, checkpoints. If you can't do the clarity well, then flashing them does at least sometimes make them stand out. I'd rather it were just easier to see colours in the first place. You remember seeing a double PCB version? I wonder if there are any differences in it. Turroplan's prototypes can sometimes be quite interesting. But sometimes bigger PCBs don't mean that there's any difference in the code. Sometimes the dev boards just end up in circulation because they don't need them anymore. Just with the final versions of the code on. There have been plenty of prototypes sold over the years that are just the final versions that were just used in arcades because, you know, rather than bin the dev boards, they just used them, sold them with the final code on. What happens? I think this is one where autofile would make it a lot easier too. There we go, it's a fairly standard war-themed shooter. Decent for when it came out, nothing special. But can't complain too much. It does what it's meant to do and it does it well. But yeah, let's move on from Twin Fork, because otherwise you're just going to see me continuing a lot and checkpointing. Now, next game, not really one I'm going to play, but I think it's important to mention for just general reasons of historical interest. Seta did quite a bit of work with Nintendo, including creating the Alex 64 board, which was a Nintendo 64 based arcade board. As you can see there, Nintendo and Seta both appear on the Alex 64 boot screen. I'm going to turn the volume down because this one's slow and has awful sound, because it's running at 47% speed, Well, this is a game developed by Hudson Soft. It's called 11-bit, and it does run on a board that was produced by Seta in conjunction with Nintendo. So we'll have a quick look at it, but it's running at like half speed, and I think it glitches out and crashes sometimes. But I thought I'd just show it on the stream, as you know, to give an idea of what a Seta were involved in a bit later on. The Alex 64 board will also have a whole bunch of games from Azure, which, after being mentioned that Seta and Universal end up combining, that might make sense. It's a football game. It's kind of cute. Obviously, it's currently running at, it says 43% speed. I think it's actually running slower than that. I think it's one of those where even if you were to speed this up to 100% in MAME, it would still be too slow because the timing's wrong in the driver. It's probably missing an interrupt every other frame or something. So it says 47%. I think it's more like 20% speed, to be honest. But I think if this was running at full speed, it'd probably be a pretty decent football game. It's got lots of little moves, flick-ons, and the like. And attractive style to it. Certainly better than the Last Striker one we looked at earlier. But I'm not going to spend too long on this because, like you can see, it doesn't run well. It's not what you'd call a playable game in this state. But interesting to cover, I think. I hope one day there are somehow optimizations to the N64 driver that make it run better. But yeah, you can even see from the countdown clock, I don't think those are even half seconds. They're slower than that. Yeah, it'd be nice if it ran 100% at one point. But N64 emulation is hard. It's one of those systems where I think everything needs to run in sync. It's got relatively fast CPUs. It's a bit of a nightmare to get right at a low level. And the interesting thing with these Alex 64 boards is a lot of them have protection chips, and some of them we don't even know what the protection chips do. There's like an extra ROM in the set that we have no idea what's for. It's kind of worrying. Obviously, with something like Magical Tetris Challenge, it's quite obvious. You know, they control the piece generation. But some of the others, Tower and Shaft and the like, I think has an extra ROM that we don't even know what's for, and the game seems to run. Yeah, it's a football game with a cartoony style to it. Even in slow motion, it's quite hard to play because it's just too slow. I mean, I think top of the line CPUs generally get about an extra, say, 25 to 50% speed in some cases. So you might get about 60%, 70% on one. But even then, I don't think it'd be close to 100% in real life, because I think it's running slower than that, even though it says that speed. Because I think there are other driver issues causing it to be slower than it says. I think I did do an AVI write to this at one point, and the resulting file just made the game still look slow, which is unfortunate. So it's probably still a long way off being full speed. Uh-oh. Oh, saved. Saved. Anyway, you get the idea. 11 beats. There's no point in me continuing to play it. It's too slow to really enjoy. I think the recompiler might be disabled in it, but the N64 driver isn't much faster. I was looking at a few N64 games to play. In fact, while we're on the case of slow games, let's boot up the N64 driver to play a Seta game. This is currently running at 80% speed. This is Tetris 99. No, Tetris 64. I say 99. Now it is running at 72% speed on just a title screen, and we can play Giga Tetris. And what Giga Tetris is. Let's play CD Wood. I seem to have very big pieces. I guess that's what Giga Tetris is. Oh. It's Tetris with random huge pieces, I guess. Okay. So now this is running at 65% speed. So you can see considering this is a simple 2D game and 11-beat was a 3D game, there's not much speed difference. But yeah, this is Tetris with massive pieces. It's a shame because it would be nice if N64 ran at full speed in MAME, but I do fully understand the difficulties involved in that. Wow, this is actually surprisingly tricky. These massive pieces thrown. See, this is how you make it a variant on Tetris. You just do some novelty gimmick that really gets annoying. That's a horrible thing to give me. That's not pieces any used. Seriously, at least pieces fall down. I can't go over the line anywhere. That makes sense. Anyway, Tetris 64 with Giga Tetris mode. I can have a look at the other modes, I guess. No, I don't want Giga Tetris anymore. What's back? What's back? There's too many buttons in it. Oh, let's just reboot it. Let's actually reboot it. Let's turn my monitor back on so I can see the stream. Oh, Bio Tetris changes the game's difficulty depending on your heart rate, does it? I'm guessing MAME doesn't emulate that part. Thank you for the little tidbit of information there, Aussie guy. So we won't be playing that because it needs a heart monitor. But we can have a look at just Tetris. And we can select seta because why not? We can select warmer. Well, this doesn't look warmer, this looks wintry. And the regular mode is just going to be... Oh, now it's warmer. Now it's just going to be Tetris. So we're on 63% speed. I don't know why I'm playing N64 games in MAME, but it is a seta game. Oh, yeah, Mode C's got the garbage blocks from the game, of course. Why not? You get the idea. It's an N64 game. It's published by Seta. The N64 driver does not run at full speed in MAME, but yeah. Anyway, let me bring up my source editor and pick another game. Yeah, let's play that one. A vertical. This is by Sammy and runs on the ssv hardware, which say Seta, not Sega, Seta Sammy Visco. This is Change Airblade. This is also kind of gimmicky. Can't remember if I played this on stream before. I think it's Japanese only. Yeah, no language switch there. But this is basically a boss battle shoot 'em up. Yeah, I didn't know that biosensor either, Mr. Evan, which is again one of the reasons I like these streams. I learn things from the people in the chat. Aussie guy does like to go into these facts, and that was one I wasn't aware of. So yeah, this you're fighting against another ship, which then transforms into a boss ship, And if you play it in 2-player mode, one of the players is the boss ship. You know, you're fighting against the boss ship player. It's an odd game with a big novelty appeal. Let's play as the Stone Golem. We are 2 hours 10 minutes into the stream, and I think this one will be a regular 3-hour stream. So you have about 50 minutes left. Cheers, thank you. See, so yeah, you've got the rival up there. It's got a stronger Psycho feel to it as well, this one. I don't know if any of the Psycho devs were involved. It just feels sort of like a hybrid of Psycho, especially the shots, like those bullets and the patterns. It feels heavily influenced. Not entirely, but. And some of these medals too. There we go. Taking out that boss form, taking out the ship. Street Fighter Dogfight Edition. Yeah, it's unique. I think this has. Is this another one that's got Street Fighter like moves too? If you do half circle or something like. Or I think it was something else. I think it was this one, but I can't quite remember. I know School Fang has Street Fighter type moves. I seem to remember. I think it was this one. I remember reading something about that. Again, I'm probably not going to pull anything off the keyboard even if it does. There are other competitive shooters, obviously. You've got like Twinkle Star Sprites on the Neo Geo, but that's a split-screen competitive shooter. Not you're attacking a boss at the top of the screen shooter. Yep, now they're playing with the boss. I'm saying in 2-player mode, that still happens. One of you is that plane, becomes the boss. It's one to experience if you've got a second player. That is certain. As a single-player game, it loses quite a lot. Back in boss form. Quite a video system cycle pattern there. Yeah, I don't think the player can do that in single player mode, unfortunately. Unless I'm something else about this game I don't know. But in single player mode it does seem more like a boss battle, you know, a boss rush type game. Enemy's giant tank. Yeah, it's a shooter like no other shooter in that sense. One of those. Oh, that's it. Somehow it dodged it. Looking more than stupid. I can hold fire as well, but my movement slows down. I kind of forget how it comes. There's a medal system as well by the looks of it, which I'm assuming is just about not letting medals drop. I went boom. I can continue it. Get your giant tank back. There you go. Yeah, the problem with holding down fire is you can't really follow the ship as well to get the shots in. There's either 2 life bars at the top. Multiple bars in quickly. Thank you, Zach. It's like ripping attack back that time. Decided to just bomb it. I just shoot the enemy, releases the pirates, as you can see. Just a couple more shots and it was dead. YF222A. Delta. That sounds more like a sound chip. Bomb. We might get a program in the back. Yeah, for a long time, because the v60cpp wasn't documented, and the documents weren't anywhere public, we did worry that v60-based games weren't going to get emulated, and the actual documents that do exist are kind of low on details for timing. So in some sense we are quite lucky that these SSD games and System 2 are emulated. Is it a bit loud? I thought I'd turn it down. Anyway, we will end Change Airblade there because there's not much more to show. It's just lots of player versus boss battles. It's a good fun game, tricky game, unique game. If you've not played it, give it a try. I mean, you won't play anything else quite like it. I'll say that much for it. And yes, where we go next? Let's look at the seta driver again. I could look at that one. Now I have something in mind. Yes. Yes. This one does not seem so good. This is 8 Forces, which Tecmo felt the need to put their name on. And it's kind of bad. This is apparently part of the Star Force series. The third game after Star Force, Final Star Force, and then 8 Forces. It's got terrible short music loops like a bootleg game. It's got terrible English translations. And it's got loads of slowdown. And it's generally a complete mess of a game. Anyway, going up. You do get to choose between 8 different characters, although it's 4 on either side, so if one of the other 4 I'd have to play as player 2. First stage I believe is randomised like a Psycho game. But yeah, this is super generic shoot 'em up with slow ship, oversized hitboxes, fast bullets from the start, enemies that take far too many hits, an annoying alarm sound. Look, a laser. It still doesn't get rid of the eye. Did I say it takes too many hits? It's still there. And then you're dead. This sucks. I don't want to die like this. Give me another chance. Well, it got part of that right. Let's be something that looks like a unicorn. Yeah, the game audio is really low quality on this one. It's not even an emulation bug. It's just really low bitrate samples. It's kind of horrible. I don't know why Tecmo would want their name on this. But then again, Final Star Force wasn't great either. It's not, you know, there's another bad Tecmo shooter on this hardware. In fact, this hardware has loads of really bad shooters, which are checkpoints. What did I had done? I will not be beaten like this. Yes. This sucks. You don't like this one then, Cal? I mean, say if I was to let it time out, I could probably play a different level. The first level is randomised. I'm always getting this one because I'm continuing. But yeah, it's rough for a first stage, to say the least. This the difficulty, the randomised first stage, the difficulty level is all over the place too. So sometimes you get the easier stage, sometimes you get a harder stage. I think this is probably one of the more annoying ones, because this eye thing. There we go, blew it up finally. But it's checkpointed, which I don't like personally. Like I say, you just feel like your shots are just hitting things and not doing any damage, which is never a good feeling in a shooter. And it's already slowing down. And finally dispatched of that thing. Disposed of that thing. Oh, we've got another eye thing. Eye light thing. And see, when you consider what a good game the original Star Force was, I don't know what Tecmo were doing, because Tecmo, you know, a reputable developer, reputable publisher, well, they did put their name on some complete rubbish. I'm assuming Tecmo didn't develop this in-house. If they did, they should be ashamed of it. Again, it's not really clear you're doing damage to anything either. The visual feedback is bad. Things are flashing anyway, even when you're not hitting them. And it just makes that metallic clink sound, which to me indicates you're doing no damage, it's just bouncing off. So audio design is poor, not just in quality, but in the choice of effects. And say collision here, it's like... I'm sure the grabber thing got me, but whatever. I'm back to the start of the stage, I believe I am. Yep, back to the start of the stage we are. So I'm going to reset actually, because there are different first stages. Yeah, 1994, you're right. How is this a 1994 game? At best this would have been passable in about 85. And then it wouldn't have been good. It would have been, oh, they're trying too hard to add 90s graphics to a game that's rubbish. But yeah, this is 94. This can't have been location tested. I'm pretty sure this would have failed any location test. Oh look, we've got orange bullets against orange lava, because that's... Apart from the orange lava hurting your eyes. Anyway, you want to be trying to see bullets against... Yeah. This is just one of those bad games. If I was doing a S for September S-word stream of bad games, this would be on there. Back to the start we go. Right, so there's probably, I think there are more first stages if we can get them. Nope, we've seen that one. Oh, here we go. Another one with a bright orange, deserty background with hands in the sand. And again, it's all fast from the start. There's no learning curve. To me, this is up there with the worst shooters in MAME, personally. Oh, some thing without eyes shooting eyeballs. That's now a barrier. And I'm dead. What did I have done? Yeah. 8 characters that all seem nonsense. Say, player 2 side has different characters. So, you know, different ships on this side. Animal base. Let's be the one that doesn't even look like a finished ship design. This one fires in every direction. So the ships are different. They behave in different ways. But 8 not very good characters isn't going to make up for anything else in this game. I think we can move on, can't we? Yeah, and so many of them have the same words, what did I had done? It's just not good. Yeah, we can move on. 8 forces. Yeah, let's not play 8 forces. Let's never speak of 8 forces again, unless we're doing an awful game stream, in which case maybe we can speak of 8 forces again. Instead, let's play what am I playing? Wrong short name. Screech, yes. It's a very bad translation. Calibre 50, same driver. Athena, Seta. This is more of a commando style one. Well, that's quite a fancy effect there, you see. Starfield. April 1972 in the Far East. We have crashed. Now this got a port to the Mega Drive, I know that much, and the Mega Drive port isn't the best, but it's acceptable. The arcade version is better. 20 years later, the title screen appears. Now this is a rotary stick game from memory, which is one of the reasons the arcade version is better. Everybody died, so yeah. So yeah, we can play it using rotating on the keyboard. But there we go. Again, it's got that sort of rocky soundtrack you get with quite a few of these games on this hardware. I like the bullets flying everywhere. It's a nice touch. There's some dead animal there. It does run at half frame rate, so it's sort of 30 frames a second, not updating every frame. Which is noticeable compared to Capcom games, but yeah, it's a bit of a Commando-y Shock Troopers type game with a rotary stick. Imagine if they gave Shock Troopers a rotary stick, that'd be pretty good. It's also quite quiet, so sorry about that. Can't do much about it being quiet. Yeah, Akari Warriors rip-off, but it has its own feel to it. You know, all the effects, the bullet shells going everywhere, gives it a bit of character over Akari. Asuka and Asuka's on Taito hardware, I think. Aussie guy. Not one of the Taito platforms that's Seta based from memory. Doesn't it run on the Bond's Adventure board? Which is very much a Taito chipset, not a Seta one. I can look at a different stream, but I just don't think it fits this stream. Oops, murdering animals. I don't think it fits here. Now this is obviously going to be better with a proper rotary stick, not trying to pretend you've got a rotary stick while using keyboard. Got a bond. Making my way down a river? No, say nice set play. Do you give up? No. It's a nice way of saying continue. It does feel a little unfair at times. Bad tile work there with the... Almost feels like missing tiles, but they're not. That's how it is. Chunky explosion. I think I have grenades as well, don't I? Yeah, I have grenades I can throw as well. I keep forgetting to use the grenades. There we go. Let's take out some tanks with grenades. A bit easier. Oh, don't walk on the traps. It's always a bad idea. And get in. Oh, it's a fancy effect. I mean, not that fancy. It's just flickering tile lamps, but kind of looked alright. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's more of a Taito platform. It's not connected to the Seta chips from what I remember. At least I don't think it is, unless I missed it, but I'm pretty sure it's Taito Customs, that one. I mean, some early Taito hardware does feel kind of Seta-like. So I don't know if there's a connection there again between the chip designers, but by that point the Taito stuff is definitely its own thing. You get things you can commonly associate with Taito. Another one that's kind of Seta-like, not as close though, is the Data East MLC. That's got a lot of sprite lists with many levels of indirection, but it's also got lots of features I don't associate with Seta systems. Plus some very distinctive Data East features like flickering sprite attribute bit from what I remember. Flamethrower, you see. It's quite a slow-paced game set compared to Commando. Yeah, this is a rotary stick with type thing. So it should be a very similar setup to Ikari. No, I don't give up. I just want to rotate at the same speed as the helicopter to take out the helicopter. Yeah, I don't hate this one. I think this one is pretty well done for what it is. It's just not as famous or polished as the more popular games in the genre. And doesn't seem to have vehicles from what I remember, so it gets a bit more samey quickly. Because obviously in a car you jump in a tank and the like. I don't remember you ever doing that in this one. But it's a respectable effort, I think. Alright, Stephen, take care. Always good seeing you here. I hope you've enjoyed the stream, and I'll hopefully catch you on the next one. In a big hole. Now we're fighting monkey things? I'm not sure. Some twist. I am credit feeding this a little bit, this is true. They're giant monkeys. I don't know why they're giant monkeys at this point. And then we get our flickery transition effect, which would obviously look all right in a CRT. And then we're out of the hole. Now chickens that we can scare. And other things that we can shoot. So yeah, we have got a bit of enemy repetition as well. Probably quit after the next life I lose. Oh, that person exploded. So keep your distance from those people because they will explode when you shoot them. They obviously ate too much curry. Oh, we've got the fighter jet overhead again. And I got a rocket to the face. Or possibly the knee, I'm not sure. But yeah, Calibre 50. I think this one's okay. It does get a bit samey, but plays alright. Nice, and feels like a slightly more strategic, slower paced version of, say, Mercs or Commando with Kari Warriors. Virgin Media died. Is this live again? Is this live again? Let's unpause this. It says we're back online. Let's check. You hear me now? Okay, alright. Internet provider just decided to die for a moment. So, yeah, I think we're back now. So I was playing Calibre 50 before. I just closed it down at the point where it told me I was disconnected. So I don't know if you got the point where I'd either started this game or closed that one. But anyway, I said we'd look at one of the more forgotten games. This one's on its own driver. This is the Dealer, which is a 65CO2 based game, two of them, from Visco that runs with a set of video chips. It's your standard poker type game. Deal your cards, hold one or two, win nothing, you know, deal a bit more. Fairly well presented gambling game. But in the end it is just a gambling game. But I thought I'd give it a bit of airtime and see if we can win something. I froze mid-sip on my drink, did I? That's alright then, so you've not actually missed anything other than me firing this one up. So I can double up because I've got two pairs. High or low game, so I lost. And I think that is pretty much all there is to this one. But I thought I'd feature it briefly for a moment before we go back to a more interesting game. I'm assuming MJP is some sort of jackpot, whereas the other JP is another type of jackpot. I think it's always interesting to see these dumped. There are probably hundreds of thousands of them out there. Well, not thousands, hundreds of them that aren't dumped, especially Japanese gambling games. Many of them use, you know, well-known common chipsets. This one uses, say, the same set of sprite chips we've seen in other games like Calibre 50, the New Zealand story and the like. But it presents a gambling game with it. So, you know, we can hold those. And we don't win anything again. Anyway, that was the Dealer. So we don't need to play the Dealer. But, yeah, it's a game that I thought I'd just briefly show. And, yeah, I'm back, Evie. I'm glad you're still watching. Always good to know that. So let's look at a horizontal shooter. This one is also in the Seta driver. This is Rezon by Allumer in 1991. And this one is very, very clearly trying to be R-Type. You know, look, it even highlights the R quite early on in the demo. Yeah, they're not even really hiding it. The font is very R-Type. The position of the text, yeah, it's like, we like R-Type, let's make it a clone. The chat overlay is frozen. Yeah, that might need refreshing. Let me just do that. Change it to that, change it to that. It should reload now. There we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. Hopefully nothing else is frozen. I tested my Berserk speech for the donations and it worked after the stream, so I don't know what was up with the stream yesterday. But yeah. It's just so R-Type. And obviously the power-up system is different. And you've got this quite odd aiming shot. You can't lock in place, best I can tell. Which is slightly the odd thing. I would have thought there'd be like a lock shot button, but there isn't. So you're constantly battling with where your other shots are aiming. Yeah, I don't know why it would do that, because the chat thing is a remote connection. It obviously doesn't refresh it when it drops something. You don't have your charge shot, unfortunately. Or your shield, which is kind of what makes R-Type playable at times. Now, a lot of people don't like this one, but I don't think it's that bad. I just think it takes a bit getting used to. It's just so obviously influenced by R-Type though. You cannot deny that. Even these like claw things, the little narrow passages in the middle of the screen, the only thing it's not R-Type on is the weaponry system really. And that's not to its benefit. If you hold the fire button, the gun arms will lock in place. Ah, okay. I'll try that then. But then I can't fire at the same time. That's really kind of inconvenient. You can't fire. Yeah, they lock in place while you're moving, but you also can't fire at the same time. That's awkward. And then as soon as you tap the button, after, you can't fire while they're locked in place. That is, that's not great design. And there seems to be no secondary fire buttons either to help you out. I think this is one where there are two sets in MAME and the only difference is the copyright year. Literally 1 byte in the ROM. So I don't know if the game is reissued or if one set's just got a hacked year on it. I think that's this game anyway. Again, it's checkpointed, so... yeah, it's not as bad as some of the audio from this chip, but it's not great. And the collision boxes are too big as well. Yeah, they could have just called it R-Type with an I and I suppose if you find a position you like and don't try and move backwards and forwards, it's okay. But then you really have to move backwards and forwards to avoid bullets. It needs more buttons. It needs an actual lock in place button. Or it needs a delay on the movement of the arm so you can move slightly without changing the direction. Or it just needs less enemies spawning all over the place. It seems to have quite a few bad design decisions. Even this though, look, this is so R-Type, going through a circle of rotating things through the gap. Where do I start? At least it's not the start of the level. Yeah, the only difference is the copyright year, Aussie guy, which is kind of odd. They literally didn't change anything else in the code, just copyright year was updated. They could have called it rip-off. Yes, they could have, Bob. Yes, they could have. don't like the collision boxes. I didn't feel the bullet hit me there, but I could be wrong. So again, auto fire might help at times. Oh dear. Yeah, they really liked R-Type, didn't they? They really did. Holy cow. You're trying to summon cow again with your holy cow. Ahem. So, we're not doing very well here. Right, next time I die, I'm moving on. Next time I game over, I mean. Not just die. You know what I mean. This is where I 1cc the rest of the game. Or not. Isn't it just a... Oh, yeah. No, it's not just a dip switch in this one. I don't know. I can't remember that. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game where it's just the year changed. Sure, I thought it was this one. Maybe it's not. Or is it machine? No, there's no configuration. I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah, we won't play any more of Rezon. It's too difficult. So what are we going to play? I'm tempted to put Zombie Raid on, but I'm probably going to save that for a Halloween stream because it's not too far away. I could put Blandier on, but it's awful. I could put Thunderclade on. No, let's go with... Should I go with another shooter? I did say I played Vasara, didn't I? Let's go with Vasara. Yeah, they ripped up pretty much everything from R-Type. I'm surprised they got away with it. The original Vasara this time. I played Vasara 2 on a previous stream. But yeah, there are a few here that I want to save for a Halloween stream again. There's Monster Slider, which is spooky. There's Zombie Raid. So those ones I'm not going to play today. Yeah, okay, Vasara. Shows you where the hitbox is. Going for low speed, high power. There is nice fire effect, isn't it? Yeah. I'm going to be punished. But yes, this is obviously another one of those heavily Japanese themed games. Is it China? I think it's Japan or China, this one. I don't remember. But that time period. He wants a cheeseburger and 2 large fries. I'm not sure they had cheeseburgers and large fries at this point in history. Again, like the you meant to destroy the flag carrier, all the flag carriers to get the bonuses at the end of the level. So the enemies carrying flags are the ones to target. Yeah, decent game. I think this got a Switch release recently. I might have wasted that. Your strength is real. But there are quite a few good shooters on the SSV platform, unlike the older Seta hardware. It's got Stormblade as well, which is very good. Not one I'm going to have time for today, though, probably. Because we are almost approaching 3 hours. And I might do one game after this, and then we will be ending the stream. I know I did lose about 5 minutes to the internet outage earlier, unfortunately, but those things can't be avoided. Quite attractive bullet pattern there. Also, you do bounce off the enemies rather than them killing you if you hit them. Oh, getting in the way of the shots does not help. I think the sequel was a bit easier. But there we go. I got plenty of flags. Not all of them though, because I think it would fill in all the way if I did. But this was wonderful. But yeah. Slightly ugly explosions, a little bit of that pre-rendered look, but a solid game to play this one. As is the sequel. If you like these shooters. So this charge attack is slightly more powerful, so you can tend to one shot the flag carriers if you can get close enough. Obviously I'm just dying at the moment. Unfortunately we've not had time for the New Zealand story, which I was hoping to play. But that is a game that deserves more than sort of, you know, your 5 minutes at the end of the stream. Let's continue once more. Yeah, she will probably defeat me many times. Especially if I'm not looking at the screen on the phone. New boss is down. I'm dead. Again. It's a nice looking water here. Waterfalls, not properly animated, but animated around the edge. We've got another boss. Got their own style to them. Mechanical, slightly insectoid piercers there. Now half destroyed. And again a bit of destruction. Oh, I forgot what I was avoiding. I was doing alright then too. Momentarily. Momentarily. There we go. Yeah, Visco were another one that went on to do slot machines. Yeah, I heard that before as a guy. Lots of them did. It was the profitable part of the industry early. I mean, there were earlier Visco slot machines. Some of them supported the MAME. So it's always been there. Anyway, Vasara, we are over the 3-hour mark now. So, I'll probably pick one last game to end the stream on. Let's see which one I want to do. Do I want to do one in here? Or not? And I think I just want to finish on another little shooter, actually. We started with a shooter. Let's end with a very similar shooter. Yeah, let's end with a similar shooter. I think this must be based on some of the same code base as Twin Eagle 2, because when you boot it up, the first thing you notice is the font there is the same. And it's got similar transition effects, although it has a wavy line scroll effect on the title screen, which is always nice to see. Again, this is one of those effects that was missing in the emulation for a long time. Though we know Uncle Poo, that was not developed by a Seta or on Seta hardware. So Ultra X weapons, Banpresto, and Seta. Doesn't play like Twin Eagle 2, but I think it's at least based on some of the same code, the underlying engine maybe, but just a very different type of game. It is better emulated now than it used to be. And you saw the wavy effect on the title screen. It's also used for the water in some stages, which I think the track mode might show if you leave it long enough. I don't know. Shall we speed through? There we go. Flashy, flashy, flashy. There you go. The wavy effect on the water there is also the same line scroll effect that in older versions of MAME from, say, 3-4 years ago was missing. So let's just point that one up. But this is, like you say, it's fun to implement those effects. Let's be the Silver Gull. And we'll go to China. So it doesn't play anything like Twin Eagle. It's more of a traditional shooter, but the way the font was the same on startup does make me wonder if some of the underlying code might be the same, but just with a very different style of game. Well, still a shooter, but not one that plays in a similar way. And obviously you have your oversized ultra weapons, which are giant versions of the characters. No, it is Ultraman, they weren't kidding. This is a Banpresto game licensed by... No, it's a proper Banpresto license with Ultraman, the giant some mech characters, or whatever you want to call them. A very jolly tune. Yes, they're all these giant, oversized robots. So yeah, this one tends to, I think, get overlooked a little bit because I think a lot of licensed games do because people just expect them to be terrible. I don't think this one's terrible. I don't really understand this secondary attack thing. Put these things down to enemies crash into them? I guess so. Sort of mines if we've got them. Yeah, pretty much all the Banpresto games are licensed from something. You're right, RO9. Clouds, lots of clouds. I like it when clouds approach in multiple layers like that. It's an effective technique. Oh, I should avoid bullets though, it's usually important. So yeah, this is the final game for the stream. I just thought I'd blast some giant pre-rendered monsters. Probably play a stage or two, and then we'll close things down for the night. Ready to die. Not ready to quit yet. Stage 4 clear. Yeah, because I start on stage 4. Yeah, it's a very B movie. I think that's kind of the point then. Here we go. Here's the wavy water stage. I can't remember which other game has these very light feeling explosions where everything seems to sort of just explode quickly. But yeah, I'm always happy to see this wavy effect emulated because it was missing for so long. And nobody even ever reported it was missing. You know, I implemented the effect because I wanted Dyna gear to look correct with the title screen. And then I found out the effect was used in all sorts of other places, such as here. There we go. You know, it even waves nicely against the beach, which is on a different layer. I say layer, I say that they're floating time maps rather than real time maps. So they're basically giant sprites with wave effects applied to them. Which again is a very Seta thing. But yes. Give it another minute or two. Probably get to the boss here. And then I shall... Oh, no, I haven't got to the boss yet. Clouds. Again, visually I quite like this. I think it holds together well. There we go, my giant attack. Not a Street Fighter reference. And the Red King. Red King is down, I think. No energy bar left. There we go. Into the lava you go. Drown in the lava. And back over the clouds. And the way the press start goes up and down reminds me of Twin Eagle 2, I think. That's got a similar thing in the bottom corner, hasn't it? Statue of Liberty, not Queen. The other ones unlock after that. So mission 4 first, that was mission 2. Yeah, this is a good fun one that I think gets overlooked. So, you know, you can do those 2 and then you unlock the rest of them. I quite enjoy it. I'll just start this level and then I'll kill myself off. Every stage has got its own music too. Again, it's sort of pre-rendered stuff that doesn't actually look too bad. I think I saved New York. Yes, let's not continue. There we go. Game over. So yeah, I think quite a bit of effort was put into this one. It is well presented. And, you know, I quite like it. I'm not any better at it than any other shooter. But, yeah, that was Ultra X Weapons, the final game of the stream. So let's get the big view back now. Hello, I'm on the big view again now. But, yes. I hope everybody's enjoyed the stream. It's been good looking at some things that run on Seta type hardware, some games by Seta, some games by others. But yeah, I mean, I've spent a fair bit of time working on the Seta drivers in MAME, refactoring them. You know, making sure all the Seta implementations use the same code, because before, like, the New Zealand story was using its own code, the seta.cpp was using its own code, and you know there were many implementations of the same thing all over the place. So unifying those is something I did some years ago now, and then adding the effects to the ssv driver. We didn't play Pascal Island, which makes the most use of the effects, but I've played that before. And yeah, I think they tend to get overlooked. It's not a Sega platform, or Neo Geo or Capcom platform. But there's a lot of interesting things running in the Seta drivers on the Seta hardware. We didn't look at any of the seta.cpp ones, Guardian, Genjin Maki 2, Penguin Brothers, the deer hunting games. A lot of those are hunting games though, and I'm not big on the hunting games. We did briefly look at a Mahjong game which we didn't play, but Seta are known for all their Mahjong games. But yeah, so I hope everybody's had a good time. It's been interesting to read the chat with the Aussie guy coming up with various facts and things like that. Yeah, I've enjoyed it, but it's getting late now. It is just gone 11:15, and I'd better just get on with a few things and go to bed. I'm not sure if there'll be a stream tomorrow. It depends what time I get home, because I'm a bit busy tomorrow. But if there is time, I might try and look at a few other things. Not Seta. I might go with Sega. Maybe not Sega. Or just S games, like I've done M games another month. Anyway, take care, everybody, and I will hopefully see you on the next one. Look after yourselves, and it's been good. Good night.